Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Counting on Jinger Duggar reveals hoarding food in bathroom. Counting on alums Jeremy Vulo and his wife, Jinger Duggar, opened up on their podcast recently, and a TLC star spoke about growing up in a large family. During their chat, she revealed that she learned about hoarding food at a young age. Read on to find out more. TLC alum Jinger Duggar knew hardship. Counting on fans saw a happy family on TLC, but it never showed the real hardships of keeping food on the table for 19 kids. Being raised with so many siblings meant that fun times were easy to find. Someone was always around to talk to or play some games. However, many hardships also arrived. Jinger Duggar doesn't raise a lot of children like some of her siblings do. And perhaps that's because her husband can't imagine a family life like that. Additionally, the author of Becoming Free indeed went through some hardship as a child. In fact, the kids never knew if there would be enough food to go around. Counting on alum explains bathroom hoarding. TLC never showed hungry kids stashing their food in the bathroom so they could make sure only they got to eat it. Allegedly, Michelle Duggar knew about it and tried to stop them. Admittedly, it seemed disgusting, according to Jeremy's wife. Jinger Duggar started by explaining that the family fell into 3 groups of kids. The older kids included her, then the middle children, and finally, the young ones. However, all of them grew up in an expanding family, the size of which seemed unique. Discussing food, the TLC alum said, "Talking about bathrooms, it wasn't easy waiting for a chance to get hot water with so many bodies needing washing. Some of their rentals in the earlier years didn't have a lot of bathrooms for such a large family." What are your thoughts about Jinger Duggar confessing that she and her siblings used to hoard their food and eat it in the bathroom? In a candid and eye-opening revelation, Jinger Duggar Vulo, the once-beloved star of Counting On and part of the famed Duggar family, shared a secret that stunned even her most ardent supporters. She hoarded food in her bathroom as a child. The admission, which Jinger recently revealed in an interview while promoting her latest book, shed new light on the pressures of growing up in a family where rules, religious expectations, and a constant media presence shaped every aspect of life. Jinger's revelation, although shocking to some, opens a window into the reality of what it was like to grow up in the famously large Duggar household, where overconsumption was seen as sinful, and every action was heavily scrutinized. Food became a symbol of control and desire in a world where so much was restricted. The pressure of perfection. As one of 19 children, Jinger grew up in a home where discipline, faith, and strict rules governed nearly every aspect of life. From the outside, the Duggars presented themselves as the quintessential Christian family, embodying traditional values and conservative ideals with a focus on modesty, abstinence, and obedience. Inside their home, however, the pressure to conform to an idealized version of Christian life created an environment that Jinger admits was stifling in many ways. In her early years, food became one of the few things Jinger could control. While her parents focused on modesty, purity, and discipline, Jinger began developing a complicated relationship with eating. The Duggar family followed a strict regimen, which included large, scheduled meals that would feed their entire family, but there was never any excess. Snacking between meals was frowned upon, and indulgence in food was often seen as a form of gluttony. "I never felt like I could just have what I wanted or eat when I was hungry," Jinger confessed in her interview. "Everything was structured, even our meals, and it wasn't that we were starving, but I often felt like I had to eat what was given and only at specific times. There was no freedom to just grab a snack or something sweet when you felt like it." For a growing child, especially one caught in the chaos of a massive household, food could become more than just sustenance. It could feel like a lifeline. And for Jinger, hoarding food became a way to deal with the overwhelming restrictions she faced. A secret world behind closed doors. Jinger's confession about hoarding food in the bathroom came as a shock to many, but it also offered a glimpse into how the young Duggar coped with her emotional needs in such a structured environment. In her interview, Jinger described how she would sneak snacks into the bathroom, an area of the house where she could have some semblance of privacy. "The bathroom was the only place I felt like I could be alone," Jinger said. "It was the one space where I could close the door and have a moment to myself without someone watching me or telling me what to do. I would hide little bits of food, granola bars, crackers, even a cookie sometimes, just so I could have something for myself when I wanted it." The secrecy surrounding her actions, Jinger explained, wasn't necessarily about hunger, but about having some control in a world where so many decisions were made for her. Hoarding food became a symbol of autonomy, a small rebellion in the face of overwhelming expectations and constant surveillance. It wasn't about being starved or deprived, she clarified. It was more about the emotional need to have something that was just mine, something I could control. Navigating family expectations. Jinger's struggle with food was just one of many ways she began to question the values and rules that governed her life. Growing up in the Duggar family, Jinger, like her siblings, was taught that strict adherence to their faith and family rules was the path to a fulfilling life. This included following courtship rules, dressing modestly, avoiding secular influences, and refraining from consuming any media that might tempt them away from their Christian values. But as Jinger grew older, she began to realize that many of the strictures placed on her by her family weren't necessarily in line with what she believed or how she wanted to live. In her teens, she started to question some of the teachings, particularly those about women's roles and modesty, but it wasn't until she married Jeremy Vuolo, a former professional soccer player and pastor, that she fully began to explore a different way of living. In recent years, Jinger has embraced a more modern lifestyle, moving to Los Angeles with her husband and their 2 daughters, and openly discussing how her views on faith, family, and freedom have evolved. Her new life, far removed from the rigid control of the Duggar household, has given her the space to reflect on her upbringing and share her story with others. Breaking free. In her latest book, Jinger dives deep into her journey of self-discovery, detailing the emotional and psychological toll of growing up in a family where individual desires were often sacrificed for the greater good of maintaining an image of perfection. Her story of hoarding food is just one example of how she navigated the expectations placed upon her as a Duggar child. Food became a metaphor for so many things, Jinger said. It was about control, about comfort, and about breaking free from the things that held me back. It sounds silly, but having that little stash of snacks in the bathroom felt like a small victory, like I could carve out my own space, even if no one else knew about it. Her revelations have sparked a broader conversation among fans and critics alike about the pressures children in large, high-profile families face. For Jinger, sharing her story is about more than just revisiting painful memories. It's about offering hope to others who might feel trapped by their circumstances. I want people to know that it's okay to question things, to find your own way, she said. For so long, I felt like I had to fit into this mold that was created for me. But now I realize that I can create my own path. And if sharing these stories helps someone else, then it's worth it. The road ahead. Jinger's journey from a Duggar child to an independent woman living in Los Angeles hasn't been without its challenges, but she remains hopeful for the future. Her relationship with her family, while still strong, has evolved as she continues to assert her independence and carve out a life that feels true to her. As she moves forward, Jinger is committed to sharing her story, not just for herself, but for others who may be struggling with the same feelings of restriction, guilt, or isolation. Her honesty, vulnerability, and courage to confront the past have made her an inspiration to many and a testament to the power of self-discovery.